Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to stop for a moment. Just stop. Stop scrolling. Stop running. Stop pretending you are fine when something deep inside you feels like it is quietly falling apart. Because I need to ask you something and I need you to answer honestly, not to me, but to yourself. When was the last time you truly showed up for your own life? Not the version of your life you perform for others, not the life you post about, but the raw, real, unedited life that only you know about in the silence of 3 inches the morning? When was the last time you looked at yourself and said, I chose this, I built this, I did the work? If you cannot remember, then this message is for you. And if you can remember, but the memory feels distant, like something that belongs to someone you used to be, then this message is especially for you. Because today, we are going to talk about something that most people spend their entire lives avoiding. Not because it is impossible, not because it is out of reach, but because it demands the one thing that comfort never will, and that is discipline. Not the kind you see on a poster, not the kind that sounds inspiring in a caption, the real kind, the painful kind. The kind that asks you to move when you are tired, to choose when it would be easier to quit, and to keep believing in yourself when absolutely nothing around you is giving you a reason to. Let me tell you something about the human spirit that nobody likes to admit. We are not born weak. We are not born afraid. We are born crying, screaming, fighting for every breath the moment we enter this world. Think about that. Your very first act in this life was a fight. Your very first sound was a declaration that you were here, that you were alive, that you refused to be silent. You came into this world with fire. And somewhere along the way, life taught you to be careful with that fire, to dim it down, to cover it up, to stop burning so brightly because it made other people uncomfortable. And so you listened, and you dimmed, and you waited. You waited for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect version of yourself to finally arrive. You told yourself, when things settle down, I will start. When I feel more confident, I will try. When I am ready, I will go. But here is what nobody told you. Readiness is not a feeling. Readiness is a choice. And it is a choice you make before the feeling ever arrives. I know what it feels like to stand at the edge of your own potential and pull back. I know the specific kind of loneliness that comes from carrying dreams you have never spoken out loud because you were afraid someone would laugh, or worse, agree that they were impossible. I know what it is like to have tried and failed so many times that failure starts to feel like your permanent address. Like it is not something that happened to you, but something that is you. But I am here to look you in the eye and tell you with every ounce of conviction I have, that story is a lie. Failure is not your identity. Struggle is not your sentence. The chapter you are in right now is not the chapter you will end on. Here is the discipline formula that changes everything, and it does not start where you think it does. Most people believe discipline is about motivation. They think that if they could just feel inspired enough, they would finally do the thing. They are waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel brave, waiting for the fear to disappear. But here is the truth. Discipline does not come after the feeling. Discipline creates the feeling. Action comes first. Courage comes first. Movement comes first. And the motivation, that glorious, sustaining motivation you have been waiting for, it shows up after you begin, not before. The formula is not complicated, but it is not easy either. It goes like this. You decide, you move, you endure, you repeat, and then only then do you become. You decide. Not when the stars align, not when your circumstances cooperate. You decide today with what you have, from where you are. That decision, that single, solitary, defiant decision is the seed of every transformation that has ever happened in the history of human life. Every person who ever built something meaningful from nothing started with a decision made in imperfect conditions. They were scared. they were underprepared, they were uncertain, and they decided anyway. You move. This is where most dreams die, not in the deciding, but in the moving. Because the distance between deciding and moving is filled with every doubt you have ever had about yourself. It is filled with the voices of everyone who told you it was too much, too risky, too late. And you have to walk through all of that, not around it, to take the first step. The first step is never graceful. It is rarely confident, but it is everything. Because the first step tells your fear something important. You do not get to stop me anymore. You endure. This is the part nobody puts on their vision board. The endurance. The showing up on day 47 when the excitement of day 1 is a distant memory. The choosing to do the work when no one is watching, when no one is clapping, when the results are slow and the doubts are loud. Endurance is not glamorous. It looks like waking up tired and lacing up your shoes anyway. It looks like writing one more paragraph and you think the whole thing is terrible. It looks like one more phone call, one more attempt, one more deep breath before you walk back into the arena. But endurance is where character is forged. Endurance is where the shallow version of you burns away and the real version of you, the unbreakable version, begins to emerge. You cannot buy that version of yourself. You cannot download it. You build it brick by brick in the moments when you choose to stay, when every part of you wants to leave. I want to talk to you about pain for a moment. Not to dwell in it, but to reframe it. Because most of us have been taught to treat pain as an enemy. And while there is wisdom in rest and grace in gentleness, there is also a kind of pain that is not telling you to stop. It is telling you that you are growing. The pain of discipline. The pain of choosing the hard thing when the easy thing is right there. The pain of delayed gratification. That pain is not your enemy. That pain is your teacher. And every time you sit with it, every time you breathe through it instead of running from it, you are learning something that cannot be taught any other way. That you are stronger than your discomfort. Think about every hard thing you have ever survived. Every moment you were certain you could not go on, and yet you did. Every night that felt like it would never end, and yet the morning came. Every version of yourself that felt broken beyond repair, and yet here you are, still breathing, still reading, still somewhere beneath the weight of it all, still hoping. That hope, however small, however quiet, is proof of something extraordinary. It is proof that the part of you that wants to become cannot be permanently silenced by the part of you that is afraid. Your setbacks are not the end of your story. Your failures are not verdicts. They are not evidence that you are not enough. They are evidence that you tried. And trying, even imperfect trying, even failing trying, is one of the most courageous things a human being can do in a world that rewards only the polished outcome and never the messy process. Every person you admire has a private story of collapse, of starting over, of being told no so many times they lost count. The difference between them and the people who never became who they could have been is not talent. It is not luck. It is not even intelligence. It is the decision made in the dark, when no one was watching, to try one more time. Now I want to speak to the part of you that has been carrying something heavy for a long time. The part that is tired. Not the kind of tired that sleep fixes, the deeper kind. The kind that comes from giving so much and receiving so little. It matters. You matter. And the effort that feels invisible right now is building something inside you that is invisible for now but will become undeniable. Roots grow before branches. Foundations are laid before walls. Strength is built in the repetition before it is displayed in the result. You are not stuck. You are in the process. Discipline is the bridge between who you are today and who you are capable of becoming. But discipline without self-compassion becomes punishment. And you are not here to punish yourself for being human. You are here to grow. Growth requires gentleness as much as it requires grit. It requires the ability to say, I fell today, and tomorrow I will try again without the crushing weight of shame in between. So let me ask you again, And this time, I want you to feel the weight of the question. What are you waiting for? What permission have you been waiting for that no one outside of you can give? Here is the permission you have been waiting for. It is yours, given not by me, but by the truth of who you already are, beneath the doubt and the delay. You are allowed to begin again, as many times as it takes. You are allowed to be imperfect and in motion at the same time. You are allowed to be scared and still walking. You are allowed to grieve what was lost while building what comes next. You are allowed to be a work in progress because every masterpiece was once a blank canvas. And the only thing that separates a blank canvas from something extraordinary is the willingness to make the first mark. Make the mark. Today, not Monday, not the first of the month, today. One honest, imperfect, courageous step toward the life you know you are capable of living. Because here is what I know about you. You did not find this message by accident. You are here because something in you is still fighting. Something in you refused to give up even when giving up would have been easier. That something is not weakness. That something is not desperation. That something is the most powerful force in the known universe. It is the human spirit refusing to be extinguished. Honor it, feed it, trust it, build your discipline around it. Wake up tomorrow and choose it again, and the day after that, and the day after that. Not because it will always be easy, not because the fear will vanish overnight, but because every single day you choose it, you are sending a message to every part of yourself that was ever told it was not enough. I am here. I am trying. I am becoming. And I will not stop. Your scars are not proof that you are weak. They are proof that you survived. And survival, real survival, the kind that reshapes you from the inside, is only the beginning. Because beyond survival is something far more beautiful. Beyond survival is becoming. And you, with your history and your heartbreak and your hope, are standing right at the threshold of that becoming. Step through. The world on the other side of your discipline is waiting. The version of you on the other side of your discipline is waiting. And they have been waiting a long time, not with impatience, but with absolute unwavering faith that you would find your way here. This is your moment. Not someday, now. Rise.